Welcome back to School Calisthenics. Ross Edgley is here, come to visit the school. He's even got his school uniform on, which is exciting. And we're going to teach Ross how to flag. He doesn't think we're going to give a maximum of an hour. I think it's going to take 10 minutes.
There's some nervousness here, but we reckon we can actually get this guy a human flag a lot quicker than he's backing himself.
I don't know, my mobility is awful.
Yeah, let's start with that. That's a good place to start.
Okay. He's a little bit worried. We said a guy with arms and shoulders as big as this. I was like,
you don't know how self-conscious I feel right now. Jacko goes, Ross, go in the middle. I'm like, no, send your hair somewhere. I want you in the middle. Okay guys, so let's have a look at the end point of what we're trying to achieve with the human flag, and there's a couple of key pillars that we need to be aware of. So the first one is we need to get range of movement, so I'm going to get Jacko to jump up on our man-made flag rack here. So the first thing is, if we can't get shoulders overhead, or range of movement overhead, then we're going to struggle to get this position. The big thing here is this bottom shoulder's got to come through. So to create a stable base, think about this bone in the shoulder, or the arm here driving straight into the body of the chest. That's going to give us our stable point. So we have to be able to open that chest up first. That's our pushing arm, this is our pulling arm, and they're going to be creating a torque, which means that we can then start to connect the hips and lift the feet. Just like that. So pushing hard, pulling hard with the top, and we're going to break this down into different components and then build it back up and get Ross just like that, hanging out. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is our movement. The first part of our framework is movement preparation, and we're just going to get Ross to kind of see what his mobility is like overhead before we try and get him up on the bars. So the one thing here that we're going to try and to look at is, can we create the range of movement, and then we're going to loosen it out and see if we can make an improvement. So Ross, get your feet in next to your backside.
I feel I should warn you, I am the world's most immobile man.
Just tell the people how far you're swimming a week at the moment.
Yeah, so we're doing about 100 kilometres in a good week.
That's not good for lap length. Just think that. So don't judge it. Don't judge it. Alright, little fingers together. And then try and get into the wall and see how it feels, and then try to arch the back.
Honestly, this is all I'm working with.
So we've got a little bit of range we can improve there, but our job here, first thing to do is to loosen that out a little bit. Otherwise, we start to get into overhead position. We're not prepared the system, then we're in danger of not giving ourselves.
I think I've got no doubt that he's strong enough. But if we're not able to create that good position overhead, you find a bit of a losing battle to start with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our lats are going to be a limiting factor to be able to get that hand into the position that we need. So we're just going to do a little bit of self-myofascial release with a hockey ball or a cross ball we've got here. So it's real simple, just like if you're going to go to the physio or soft tissue therapist. We're looking to find the sore points in the muscle, and Dave's just putting that onto the lat, and he can work around the back of his shoulder there as well. Starting to find those trigger points is where the adhesions are all stuck down, we've got muscle glued together, a little bit too much neural activity going on. So putting the ball on those bits where it's sore, anything on a pain scale of 1 to 10, 6 and above is where you want to spend a bit of time. Hang out there for a minute or two, you'll feel that pain drop off, and then we should get a pretty instant kickback on an improvement in range of movement if we can decrease some of that overactivity in the muscle. Right, Jacko can spend there all day.
It's nice.
You'll go.
Loosen it up.
Let me in.
So just on the back, so anything on that bottom side, Ross, anything in here, and you can get right into the back of that rotator cuff as well.
So there's not really a right or wrong way, it's just chase the pain.
Yeah, only if you get to a point where you are getting numbness or tingling in your fingers, that's a nerve. So just don't roll the nerve, and just stick on the muscle. But you're looking for those bits that are pretty grotty. Anything that feels kind of gristly, jumps out of the way, you're just trying to pin it down, and you look like you're going for a level 2, so like bend that elbow, and then give me some internal external rotation in that as well. So find the trigger point, and then start to mobilise through that. See, man of steel, not even grimacing.
It all hurts, I'm trying to figure out. But that is again what I find amazing, that like too few people understand that, you know, muscles aren't just there to generate force. You know, they can become these, I call them almost like stagnant pools. Yeah. You know, that become contorted, the fibers are stuck together. So it's not, and I hold my hands up. You know, I know all the theory. I just need to do it.
Okay, so once we've got in and loosened off some of that muscle and got rid of some of that neural tension, it's now about, let's not necessarily make any added any length to the muscle. We want to now actually try and elongate it, so a little bit of a stretch or mobilisation. We're not going to do static because we're going to want to put down an awful lot of power in when we go into this flag, so we don't want to decrease into that power output. So we're going to look to mobilise what's in there. So you're going to use a ring, or you can have a band, or you can grab the on the cage. Thumb pointing up, so just trying to play some external rotation, and then big round in the back, trying to keep that lat on as much length as possible, and then just trying to work it into explore some areas for you where it's tight around here, and start to manipulate like your hip as well, because the lat attaches down the bottom of the hip, so depending on what's happening at these 2 points here is going to affect the stretch on that. And almost like,
but I think there's so much around calisthenics is like that kinesthetic awareness. You've got to start to understand like what it feels like where you are in space. It's not just a matter of moving weight from A to B, it's actually going to go, how am I going to start to leverage my own body weight? So therefore you've got to have awareness of where you are in space to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So we've done a bit of mobility where we've taken some tension out of the muscle, we've put a little bit of mobility in that joint, we've greased it up a little bit, so we're just going to now go back into our test and see if we've made a change. So it should feel, we've got fingers to the walls, we need to make sure that we're kind of maintaining some midsection alignment, but
that feels so much better. That's incredible. But I mean, you are working with, like I said, the world's most mobile man. But that already is better.
But it's 5 minutes of work, and what we've done is we've optimised the opportunity for success in the session. So if we spend 5 minutes at the beginning prepping the body for what we want to do, it means when we actually get into it, we can then just get a little bit more out of that training session, and it's a 5-minute investment in moving better before we get into the strength side. So the next phase of starting to get our human flag nailed down is a movement patterning. We need to teach the brain what the shape is we need to get into and how to nail down the connection that we're trying to look at. So there's a real kind of neural learning skill acquisition component to that, and that's our movement patterning. So we're going to focus on the bottom arm. The bottom arm is our pushing arm. It's going to create that stable base that we're going to then allow everything else to move around. So Jacko's going to plant his hand out, turned out slightly, just because again we're going to open that palm up onto the bar. And it's going to come into what we might look as a standard sort of T push-up or an lateral hold position. The job here though, what we're going to do differently is I'm going to get Jacko to drive that hand hard into the floor. So we're doing this because we really need to create that downward force for the flag. We're seeing that hip raise up a little bit and it can drop in, either hold tight, but actively maintain that tension, not just sitting and resting in that socket. Jacko's pretty good here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a kettlebell. The beautiful thing about this is we start to get some really nice proprioception in that top shoulder as well. More shoulder stability, more connection and pushing her away from the floor, and that's the basis of what we're trying to move towards.
Yep. The big thing for me is just that arm, it's not a side plank vertical, we want it at that angle. You want you getting used to pushing yourself diagonally away.
Yeah. Just feel that connection also, like allow the slap joint to go, so just take all the tension, just sit that shoulder against the ground. And then I try and drive that shoulder away, so you try and make that the arm as elastic, so you feel like you're actually driving the arm to be as long as it can, trying to move these points as far away from each other as you can.
Almost like
perfect.
That's that mobility.
And keep pushing hard with that bottom hand. So you can feel actually the tension going through that is keeping that shoulder, almost feels like it's separating this like the end range.
Got it. Then walk your feet a little bit further away, so this goes on more of an angle, so less vertical.
Nice.
See that? Stack your foot on top of the other. Do you want to try and look at that?
Level 3. Woo! The shake. Good.
You got it?
I think so.
Yes. So keep driving that away. It's a really nice progression. That's an 8 kilo kettlebell, so you don't need a lot of weight for this.
We've got a bit of shake and bake. Right, so next up we go for look at the top arm on its own, and this is we'll start with an active hang and then we'll just take it into a single one. So the key for this is that we're creating some tension through the joint. As on that push away, you're creating tension through your joint. We're doing the same thing, but this time it's the opposite, yeah? So we're pulling down, this top arm is a pulling arm, so he's driving his shoulder down away from his ear, and you see that like nice bit of separation. The strength then comes, can we transfer onto one side and hold that position and not drop out and lose tension? So if it drops down and goes slack, you see all that movement. But it's none of it's coming from bicep, yeah? The arm's locked down, all the tension's coming from the back here. Yeah? Right, yeah, there we go.
It's like the baby steps for me.
So it's like just relax real loose, good. And then first just both arms, drive your shoulder blades down, good.
Perfect.
So you feel like all that tension through there, and then hold it, so go there and hold it. Good, and then try and transfer onto one side. Without get your thumb around it.
Right.
There you go.
Awesome.
So create tension first.
Yep.
So drive yourself up. Yeah, good. And then keep that. Then don't drop down. So keep that, and then try and go to one side. That's drop it. Again. Good. Try this side. I'll stop you from moving.
Can you pull into that now, Ross? I'll try and scoop.
Yeah, that's what we need. So you're going to go up on that one side, so not there, up, and then I want you to try and pull that hip up towards your hip.
Why was I just smacking the side?
Because if you lose that tension, so if I go here and then lose tension, I'll swing over.
Right.
Whereas I've got to drive that shoulder down, keep it there.
And this is where the tension from the flag comes from. We can connect that single arm hang, and then we can bring in the oblique. Then we've got enough tension here to then keep those feet off the ground. So it's like the hang is one thing, but being able to actually then pull the oblique in. Like your old lateral hitches. There we go.
Hip up towards your shoulder. So you're then getting that
makes sense
and a bit of that.
Right.
Okay. But you need to do those two things. So you need to get that happening,
Right.
that happening, and then the hip up.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So hold, bang, and then.
So that, so try down.
Cool.
And
Same
then
side oblique.
Try and squeeze your hip towards that shoulder.
Cool.
Yeah. So you should think you. Which way are you going to go first?
So I'll go right.
This way.
Yeah. So it's there.
Keep that tight. That's it. Yeah.
Other side.
Other side. So when you want, so this time go on this side. Go to this
Yeah.
side.
So that
And you're going to pull that shoulder down and then that hip towards that shoulder.
So
this is
Yeah. That's the dance we're going
Oh
yeah. We got it.
try and start on that side of the bar. If you're gonna leave left arm on the bar.
So I'll go left.
Start over here.
So there as a swing.
Yeah. So you're not going to swing too
And
much.
then crank that. Yeah.
And then it's that. Sorry, that one.
Yeah.
Those two things together.
Bang.
Yes.
Like
There
that.
you go. And start your hands close together. You'll swing less as well, rather than going like a wide route. Because then you're going to start swinging across.
Amazing. I don't know if I'm going to graduate from flag school.
We are.
Cool.
Right.
There.
Go for it, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep getting
That's it. Yeah. That's squeeze hard.
There. Good.
Yeah, good.
There we go. That's better.
Active
Feel
hands
that?
loads better.
Yeah, have a rest. See?
Perfect.
Whoa.
Redefining is impossible. So next up we're going to try and bring those three things in together. So you've been working on that top arm, you got that funky dance move with the hip, the shoulder and the hip, and then that bottom arm push we're going to bring in against the side of the rig.
Right.
So one hand sort of somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
That's going to be the pulling one. You're going to pull that in, that active position. You're going to pull that hip up as well as pushing out to the side, and you're going to find your way out there. Yeah, cool. You're not going to be out flat because your hand isn't in contact with the vertical pop.
This is a really nice way of linking through the pushing and the pulling and those two preparation exercises.
So that way.
Do you need a box?
I think I might. I'm trying to go to the kiddie step.
Oh no! Yeah, step up. So pull with the bottom, so pull with the top one. All the strength is really on this top side. This doesn't have to do an awful lot at all. And it's just pushing a bit. It's not going to be. You're not going to feel the strength.
I feel like I want to go there.
Don't go too there.
There.
Go where's comfortably there. That's it. Yeah.
There we go.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah.
That was the first point of him realising he might actually do it.
In my head, I was like,
Three things: the pull from the top arm, the push from the bottom arm, and then there's obliques on the top side. Those three things together, and your brain went, right.
It all made sense.
It's like, this is what we're trying to do, Ross. And it's like, okay, let's do it.
If you slow that down, the video, you'll see that the light bulb went ding.
We'll put a graphic on.
I'm doing it.
There we go. Yeah.
So your job now on that is to get Yeah. So that pike angle will come better if you can have the confidence to open up. And this is where it goes shoulders to position. Right? People don't like that.
That tight shoulder. That one you got to push that through. So at the moment, as I'm standing here behind you, your hands on there, your other hand's in line with it on the same plane of the bar.
Yeah.
Does that make that plane? Your shoulder's like back here somewhere.
Right.
So I want you to push that through to be in line with the rest of your body.
Snatch.
Push,
Right.
Push through there. Yeah.
Right. This push myself out.
This push
Drive
through
that,
Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Right.
That's it. Good.
Better. Yeah.
Good.
Push more. This has got to get you further away.
There you go.
Better. Yeah.
Yay!
I see what you mean.
Have a go. Now we try this.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It's that active hand strength and that single arm.
Yeah.
So just that Right, so when we talked about the active hang, you've got to really crank that shoulder in. We've got to be going active hang hard.
Right.
If you don't, the body's just going to go, it's going to use bicep instead, which, okay, you get a flag, but it's not going to look beautiful.
I think that's what I'm doing. I'm still bicep heavy. Yeah. It's really like.
If I had these, I'd be bicep. I'd be like, no, just use these. Way better. Yeah. Good. That's cool.
Yeah. It's like,
So you're going to go into the gym, going to give you the chance to feel what the whole position's like. I'm going to hold your legs.
Okay.
And I can hold you quite hard, or I can hold you easier. And I can work less hard, and you're going to start working harder. And work down your body towards your hip.
Right.
As I get closer to the fulcrum where you're holding on.
Yeah.
It's going to start to feel a bit harder for you. I might even let you go, and you might hold it, or lower rest. We're nearly there.
Okay. Big thing here, Ross, don't let go of the bar.
This lady, she goes over, right, and I didn't think that was necessarily needed to be said. So I just picked this lady's legs up to here, and she just let go, bang, she's on the floor now on her legs over there. So it's a good tip.
Good instruction.
Very good tip.
Hold on to the bar.
Head of health and safety. Alright, ready?
Yeah.
Push and pull, super hard. Good, that's it. Yeah.
Go on, sweet, that's it. There, better.
Top arm, keep pulling. Good, nice.
Yeah, I think I'm still pulling there a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's like.
You've said a number of times the body will find the path of least resistance. Like if you're real strong here, clearly you are, like, and that's stronger. And why would the brain want to use a different muscle?
Right.
Especially when like you go back to go. Actually, part of this is understanding where the weak link is in the chain. And if you to train more single arm active hang, like that's the one. It's not your bottom arm. It's that ability to actually just hold that position.
Yeah, that's better. See. Barely.
Go on, Ross.
Yeah.
That feels stronger that side, yeah.
Remember, top arm pulling, bottom arm pushing, and then when you're first going, it's going to be easier for you to just to kick out there rather than try and push into it. So just from here, a little kick with the feet.
Did you get psyched up for the flag?
Yeah, you can say.
Did you get it?
Relax.
I thought you were gonna hit me.
No, yeah. Relax, okay. Little spike of adrenaline.
Yeah.
Hit the spine.
Okay.
Nervous system.
Oh!
Go! Get that flag, kick, go on! Oh, I'm kicking it more. There! Kick on there,
That was good. That was good.
Right. Adrenaline, it's fine.
But I thought you were gonna hit. I didn't know you were gonna hit me. You got big hands. Thank you so much.
Okay, like Frank the Tank said, I'm going to do one more. He says, I'll do one.
Yeah. Okay, confidence and strong bottom shoulder.
High, kick high, come on. Oh!
Bottom hand gone.
Yeah, there, that's the flag. Look at that! Yes, that's the flag. That's it.
So good.
Right, so as you can see, proofs in the pudding. Ross come in today, 45 minutes ago, something like that, and he has graduated in his human flag, which we're all very happy with.
Smiling, 3 smiles.
It is. We were just talking about how the framework, when you follow it, we deconstructed the human flag ourselves to learn it and built it back up, and then when we're applying it to people, yes, Ross can do it in such a short space of time because he's so strong, but other people can build up that strength gradually, and it might take a bit longer. But for us, it's about the fact that the results show that it works. Like, it looks impossible, but that's why we say you can redefine impossible. You follow those steps within our guides, within our framework, and actually you get that glimmer of, it might not feel impossible anymore, and the proofs and the results, like, not blowing our trumpet, but we get people to do flags, and sometimes I'm like, how do you do that? I look at someone, I'm like, we're working at a workshop, and I'm like,
that guy's doing the flag.
It took us months, didn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think to get from A to B, you know, working in strength and conditioning, you see so many guys and they train harder, not smarter. And me, having come in here and never even tried the flag before, I wouldn't have a clue where to go. So I would just fatigue session after session, not knowing what to do. Whereas when you guys systematically break it down, and genuinely, like use it on the video, you see light bulb moments, and I go, okay. And then, you know, it was far from pretty, you know, it was an ugly bloke, but you go, you know, and taking that now, you can start pointing the toes, you can start make it look pretty, and you can start to have fun. But that's what's been amazing for me, actually seeing. This sounds so weird, but I've been on a journey. It's been weird, but no, it's been good. I feel kind of sort of semi-graduate, semi-earnest now.
Totally. Yeah, definitely. But that's quite cool. There's two things for me on that. Like, one, you just learn to move in a new way. You taught yourself something new, which is pretty cool. We don't get to do that very often as adults. And the second thing is now you've got that understanding of how you're trying to move. It's just a matter of them applying strength training principles. So it's an isometric movement. So you go back to what you know about isometrics to get better at the flag. Just create more time and attention, and that's the beauty of the progressive framework, in that you can actually build up and find a point which is right for you. Because if you just come in and you didn't know what you're doing, you might be getting half a second time and attention, just kicking up, failing. Whereas actually now you can go and hold 3, 4, 5 seconds, start to put that together. That's a meaningful workout.
Absolutely.
Rather than spending 3 months like we did when we first learned of failing, until we eventually got it right, and then we broke it down and said, actually, this is a much more effective way to learn it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, like some people will watch and go, well, look at the flipping how big Ross is, super strong, like, it still looks fine.
They will say that.
But they'll look at you and go, they might not call you a fitness model, because you haven't got your shirt off, but they're going to go, he's strong, like, I can't do it, and like, what we're trying to show you is that everybody's got different strengths and weaknesses, and actually at the beginning, your mobility, if you increased your overhead shoulder range, that would feel immediately even better. And then someone else, it might be that they've really got loads of range, loads of mobility, they've got the skill acquisition, but they're just not strong enough. Well, rather than doing a flag in 45 minutes like Ross, you might have to go away and you might work for 3, 4, 5, 6, however many weeks it takes. It doesn't matter. You're on your own journey and you're doing your thing and working on what you're at, but just take something like this as just inspiration to actually try and have a go at doing something that right now for you feels impossible. It might not be a flag, it might be something even way simpler, but just take it as going, actually you can learn something new if you just follow a nice progressive systematic approach like you said.
That's a good point. And on that note, what I love about the complex compound nature of this, it will highlight weaknesses, and mine is like,
you can't hide.
No, there's nowhere to hide on that, and mine's mobility, it's awful. And what's great on that is it's like, that is really bad, and you work on it, and if that's the weakest part of your kinetic chain, it will identify.
Well, I think you're like so I finished playing rugby 4 years ago, and my shoulder range went horrific, and it's still not great. And for me to go and go, I need to work on mobility, I'm like, I knew that already, like physio, go, do these exercises, I'm like, whatever, like it's boring, like working on it. Whereas when it went, if you were able to work on your mobility, you're going to do a human flag, I'm like, well, mobility is boring, but I really want to do a flag, so I'm going to do it because I know it's going to give me an end result, rather than just going, do mobility because you should do mobility. Do mobility because there's your end point, it's going to give you something that you really want. Then you've got the motivation to do it. I think that's for me definitely helps.
That's me as well. When people say to me, do mobility, I'm like, no.
It's boring.
But do the flag? That's cool. Sign me up. Exactly.
So if you haven't checked out this legend and some of the crazy things he's up to, sort of challenges he does, link to his channel, which is there up by Tim's head. If you want to learn the flag like Ross did, it might take you more than 45 minutes, but we've got a human flag guide which is down there. And if you want one of our other tutorials to give you some free tips and help on how to do that human flag, that's up there.
Say class dismissed.
Class dismissed.